objective is to amalgamate superior care with cost-effective solutions, prioritizing the provision of efficacious inpatient dialysis treatment and establishing sustainable long-term staffing assistance. He said the physicians at the LBJ will be able to consult with Renaissance specialists, and they are establishing collaborative ties with local physicians and the dialysis clinic to ensure optimal care for patients afflicted with all forms of chronic kidney disease. Their paramount objective is to exhaust all efforts to delay the progression to the point where dialysis becomes necessary. According to Dr. Chandran, what is notably promising is their initiative to introduce home-based dialysis services to the island, allowing patients to undergo treatment within their domestic environments, a practice recognized for significantly improving quality of life and considered preferable by patients. He concluded that they are currently dedicated to devising a far-reaching strategic plan aimed to dispersing dialysis services geographically, moving away from the centralized model currently represented by the LBJ Hospital. And their vision entails establishing dialysis clinics in Tafuna and more remote areas of the island, ensuring enhanced accessibility and convenience for patients seeking treatment away from the central medical facility. Joyeta Fengai Mali with your news on KVZK.
In news from Apia, a man who intentionally drove his car over another man in an incident that occurred in Samoa on April 4, 2018, was sentenced to 9 years in prison by the Supreme Court in Mulinu. Joyeta Fengai Mali has the full report.
Ta'ala Tiasi Ta'ilo was found guilty of manslaughter in relation to the death of his friend. Sentencing was handed down by Supreme Court Judge Justice Vipuleai Ampro Saroma recently after a panel of assessors found him guilty of manslaughter and dismissed the murder charge. He was represented by Unasa Unisapolu, while prosecuting for the Attorney General's office was Fuifu Ioane. The evidence revealed that on the evening of April 4, 2018, and into the early hours, the defendant was drinking with the deceased and a mutual friend named Lucky at his place. The noise from the party drew the attention of the neighbors, who then contacted the police for assistance. The deceased became disorderly, swore, and was eventually chased from the party. About 100 meters from the entrance to Lucky's property, the deceased was struck by the vehicle driven by the defendants. A medical examination found that the deceased sustained multiple lacerations. He was a 43-year-old man from Nufo and the only male sibling in his immediate family. The defendant did not offer assistance for the funeral. Justice Romo considered the circumstances of the case and took 12 years as the starting point for the sentence. He deducted time for the personal circumstances of the defendants and his prior good character, resulting in an end sentence of 9 years for Ta'ilo to serve. The court also issued a coronial finding to certify that the deceased died as a result of multiple injuries sustained from the incident. Joyeta Fengai Mali'i with your news on KVZK.
Finally, in our news from the region, despite Marshall Islands' ongoing concerns and how their uneasiness may not affect the decision made by the Pacific Islands Forum, President Hein joined other Pacific leaders in supporting Japan's release of treated nuclear wastewater.
In August of last year, Japan started releasing water gathered from the Fukushima nuclear plants following a meltdown caused by an earthquake and tsunami in 2011. The response from Pacific nations was mixed. The Marshall Islands expressed ongoing concerns about the water release, citing the nation's history of radioactive contamination from the United States nuclear testing. However, the Marshall Islands president joined other Pacific countries in recognizing the International Atomic Energy Agency as the authority on nuclear safety, stating that the water is safe to release. The president noted that the Marshall Islands felt unable to change the decision made by the Pacific Islands Forum, but still wanted to express their opinion. Furthermore, the Marshall Islands president said they are trying to get the forum to ensure that there is monitoring of what's happening. If not reviving the independent panel, then having at least a monitoring scheme to help them understand what's going on with the pumping of nuclear-related water into the Pacific Ocean. Meanwhile, Pacific Islands Forum Chair and Cook Islands Prime Minister Mark Brown maintains that the discharge does not go against the spirit of the South Pacific Nuclear Free Zone Treaty, also called the Treaty of Rarotonga. with Japan meeting all required international standards. He said there is no infringement in this, as the water is being treated and cleaned, and they are being removed before this water is discharged. Kenneth Keddy is a former parliament representative of Ronchlap Atoll, one of the worst affected by the nuclear test, said it was affected by high levels of radiation, primarily from Castle Bravo, a nuclear test on the 1st of March in 1954, and that was considered to be 1,000 times more powerful than the U.S. atomic bomb dropped in Hiroshima. The radiation forced the people on the atoll to abandon their island. Joyeta Fengay Mali'i with your news on KVZK.
Coming up next is the weather and tide report for American Samoa. And that concludes this edition of your KVZK News for this evening. Thanks for joining us. Tofa Soifua.
Talofa, olo e mai mo mai le tautua le ala talua le KVZK TV, Pango Pango, America Samoa. You are watching KVZK TV Channel 2, Pango Pango, American Samoa.
Voice of the Sea, learning from experts across the ocean.
Welcome to Voice of the Sea.
This time on Voice of the Sea, we explore the importance of fish ponds. In ancient Hawaii, fish ponds were a primary source of food for the people. Cultural experts Kimo Keo Kapahu Lehua and Joylyn Paman share their knowledge about the important legacy of fish ponds in Hawaii. We start off with Kimo Keo investigating the Ko'ia'ie fish pond to learn about its age and history. Fish ponds today serve as examples of enduring cultural practice and sustainable farming. The 3-acre Ko'ia'ie fish pond is one of 44 known ponds on the island of Maui.
This fish pond was built in the year 1600. We had a carbon dated material sent away to find out how old it is, this pond.
What material did they look at?
The sand and the color of the sand. So we took sand, deep down and send it away. We send different parts of the pond to them, Where that end of the wall is, you see the gap? That's going to be the gate where the wave is go like that. So our wall is like 1,100 feet long. And the gate is called Makaha. Maka means eye of the sea, Ha is the breadth of the ocean. You know what I mean? So the Makaha would be the gate that we would use the material from the mountain, which would be the ohia wood. And the rope would be either olona or would be the coconut sanef. The mountain provided us all this material to make things to catch your fish.
Right. So the mountain provided you everything from the gate on the fish pond to the canoe that you'd use to go out into the sea.
Including the fish net. And including, so everything that, so including your spear. You need to know your forest. If you didn't know Mauka and the material, then you would have to catch the fish by your own hand. You know what I mean? So it wouldn't be impossible, but it make it a lot easier for you not to put your hand where the vana is at or the sea urchin.
Lokoi'a, or Hawaiian fish ponds, are man-made ponds built by our kupuna, Hawaiian ancestors, to enclose an area of the ocean, creating a natural environment to make it easier to harvest fish. Fish ponds are a self-sustaining ecosystem in that no outside inputs are required. The energy that feeds the system is the sun. As the sun comes down and feeds the phytoplankton and zooplankton, that is in turn what feeds the fish, feeds the crabs, feeds the shrimp, feeds everything in the system. Us as human beings don't have to touch anything in the pond except when we want to harvest. Hawaiian fish ponds can act as a natural ecosystem.
Let me show you the wall. We've experienced some damages for the tsunami that we had in March 11th. So what happened is they brought the wall over and brought a lot of sand inside, so our wall is pretty shallow. The wall is about 1,100 feet long and has to be almost like a 12 feet base and end up on the top almost like a 4 feet, you know? But you would have to make the wall high enough, like how it is, to, on the highest tide, it would be almost like a foot higher than the highest tide of the year. Because if it was very low like that, it would, so like that there has to go up higher. All of this has to go up higher. So, and the tsunami changed the ground, but traditionally, your wall will be 1 foot higher than the highest tide of the year.
And so now that it is broken down, how do you raise it up?
We would have to go out and keep on building it up. The rocks are here. They've been here from the year 1600. They come from Haleakala. So what happened is, as the island is raised up in its beginning stages, and as the rain cuts the island off, those rocks fall into the ravines. And then the rain will bring the rocks down to the level. So these rocks didn't roll down to here, but they rolled about 2 miles away. So these rocks were rolled out with skips or carried out to make this wall. Right over here is where the stream used to flow right to the ocean. So now it doesn't flow at all because of a lot of our stream is diverted. And so we don't have a jet stream down. So if we had a jet stream, the water would come right here. This is one of the streams, you know. So come, I'll show you the stream so you can show the stream and how the rocks, where they got the rocks from. So you're asking me where the rocks come from. So they came right across here, straight behind those houses. We never had houses before. So the process was that the wall used to go all the way up, you know. And they said, oh, you cannot build a wall all the way up. You only can build them between the highest tide and the lowest tide. Well, this wall would have been all the way up and no sand would have gone in my pond.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So culturally, I would have built it all the way up here, right?
And then you would have been safe.
But now I don't build it up here, so now the sandbar building here. So when low tide, my fish cannot swim or play like how they're supposed to swim and play. So building the wall, you have to have a face. So you want to make sure that the wall is face here, yeah? So the face is alo, like aloha, yeah? And then it has like an opu, so you can lock it in. So the wall has a face and an opu, so you can lock it in. So that guy would be upside down, so he won't move. So you want to look at the face like this, like this, like this. And now the bigger rocks are on the bottom, the smaller rocks are on the top. And So you really want your wall to look consistently like this, you know? The face. It's kind of crooked now because of the tsunami, and we just kind of took the rocks and put it on so we don't lose it. Right now the tsunami has, below us is 2 feet of wall, you know.
And will you move the sand out?
Yeah, so now we have to go out there, get those rocks and rebuild. So if you ever seen a local ER, the first thing came to your mind was, if you came with a canoe, you're gonna blow your pool to ask permission to come. If you didn't blow your pool, then you came for another reason, right? You came to take. But if you seen the wall, you wouldn't want to come take from me. Because my people put that many rocks on the wall for them to protect their family. They have the power and the strength. So this is not the place you would want to come and play with the people. They've been putting stones for a long time. So they can throw stones to you with a slingshot, but they're very, very strong people. And also that tells you that this village, because they have a local ER, was totally intact. Anything behind, the women, the men, the children, was really, really strong. The houses were beautiful. The mats, the things the ladies made was beautiful. The man canoes was great and strong because that represents the signature of the village. These are strong people. So anything they had behind them, they took care of. So they can take care of you too. Just the local ER wall alone will signify this is not the place to stop and make trouble. It's the place to come in with great aloha, because I have the best gift for you. I have fresh fish waiting for you.
The Curriculum Research and Development Group in the College of Education at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. CRDG's training roots go back over 40 years. Through professional development programs, curriculum workshops, research on teaching methodology, individualized school and district training, and so much more. The Curriculum Research and Development Group, improving schools, improving education. CRDG.
Voice of the Sea, learning from experts across the ocean.
Hawaiian fish ponds were built nearly 2,000 years ago and are an amazing feat of engineering and community work. Imagine if you had a refrigerator that was always stocked with fresh fish. Back in ancient Hawaii, they didn't have refrigerators, but they did have fish ponds. Fish ponds allowed them an easier way and a more consistent way, as well as a more sustainable way to harvest fish from the ocean. As the fish come into the pond, they live, they survive. As they go out, we can harvest them, and in fact, sometimes we let some out so that they can start the process all over again and bring babies back into the pond.
These are dead coral. These are, you call it mortar. This is what we used to put, we put behind, in between the wall so that it'll lock the wall together.
The mortar.
The mortar, this is our mortar. It's not mixed with water or pounded by water. We just put it in there and acts like a mortar. So where the rocks, so you can lock the rocks over there, these coral. So we would gather them and put it on it. Right now the wall's damaged, we have to go in, but we would put it on the top and try to make it flat to lock everything up. So it goes down. Find a place so the big rocks won't move. The pressure of the wave will keep it there.
And then it gives little crevices and things.
Right, so the rock won't move.
And do you have plans to make this fish pond operational again?
We would not probably put this a pond in operation. Right now we're just making a wall to put the life back in the wall, which would be the opihi, the PPE, the hayuki, the vana, the crab, the puhi, all of those stuff will, if we build a wall, they go in the wall, they will come. For me to make it commercial, in today's process, I have to have a Board of Health certificate. and I have to make sure that the quality of the water, ciguatera doesn't appear, the oxygen, the turbidity, the salinity, the ammonia, all of that would have to be tested, saying that this water will not create any disease to hurt you. That's the process. The Hawaiian process was just go eat the fish before, you know, but the process is because we have a lot of chemicals that were put in on our land and has washed off into the ocean now. And so the process of the food service or Board of Health service requires us to go to a process that no longer make me on Hawaii, you know. So as a Hawaiian, I cannot go through that process because that wasn't our process. We still eat the fish here, you know, and it's still okay for us. So, but in this other process, saying it's not okay.
In your own management of the fish pond, how would you know that it was healthy? What would you look for to know that it's healthy?
Well, obviously, if my fish pond wasn't healthy, I would be looking at Ho'ailona, which is a sign. So if I had dead fish floating on my sand, that was a sign that something's going on wrong with my ocean. The other thing is the ama tells me that my pond is healthy. The sea cucumber, the opihi, the eel, these are other animals that are in the wall, you know? And those white things you see over there, these are coralline. This is what people, the sea animals eat on, you know? These are the PPE. So if the PPE wasn't on the rock, then it tells me there's something wrong with my pond. Besides the fish, we have a lot of limo in here. We have limo ele on the outside. We had vai ole, huli vaina, limo pepe. So besides the algae, besides the ER, they had a really healthy diet. We have 3 other ponds. We have 4 more ponds. We have a bigger pond down there, 33 acres underwater, like this. So we have enough work here for the next 100 years for our kids.
You're watching Voice of the Sea.
Education is a powerful tool. So for our people to get connected, like the element of the wind, the kamakani, the element of the sun, the moon, the element of the sound of the sea, and the different things that you see on the ocean will tell you some things. You know, we call it Nopo'e Honua, which is the people of the land. Nopo'e Moana, the people of the sea. Nopo'e Olani, the people of the heaven. So the clouds will tell you what's going on. And the sun will give you a direction of where we're going. And so is the stars, and so is the moon. So when we talk about Nopo'e Olani, it speaks about the ancient people that's gone with the knowledge. Yeah? But besides the knowledge, there's other knowledge up there that's physically shown to you what's going to happen, you know. And same with the land. The people of the land are going to tell you what's happening. The animals are going to take off if there's something happening on the land. The birds are going to get off the ground. They're going to fly. We cannot fly, but they're going to fly. If they start flying fierce, real fearful, you know there's something happening. You know what I mean? So to get our people connected, they would have to come what they call holo ka holo o lelo ka lelo. Walk the walk and talk the talk. They need to come down in hana ka lima. They need to come and work. They need to work the local ia, work the honua, like the taro, like the honua, they gotta work the ocean, they gotta work the wall. So hana ka lima is this is my hand. Hana is the work. Yeah? What I put in is what I get out. So if I put no work in, I have no knowledge. It's not going to be given to you. You have to work for it, you know. So to connect our people, we educate them in how, today they call it self-sustainability. Sustainability is being maka'ala, being a smart person and knowing the resources you have. If we had no place to go, you think we're going to die today?
No.
No, we're not going to die. We're going to find the things to make live. We will learn everything green we can eat. Irregardless what it is, we can eat them. We're going to learn everything on the wall to eat, you know. And if we don't have water here, we're going to look for water. The fish that we raise, which is mullet, moi, and ava, those are the 3 different fishes they raise in a pond. They couldn't raise the other fish. They're too wild, so I don't know if you know. We have manini, pole, kala, palani, maiko, pualo. So all these fish we can raise them because it's hard to tame them. You know what I mean? Hard to culture them. We do everything with the moon. We're going to just take when we want to take. The moon will tell us when the thing has got babies, when not to take and when to take. Every moon phase is different from different side of the island. So I might be able to harvest, but the person in Hana might not. It's not going to be the same for the whole island. They say that listen to the voices of the sea, listen to the voices of the land, and listen to the voices of the heaven. They have a message for us.
The ancient Hawaiians built fish ponds near freshwater streams. The baby fish on the outside of the pond were attracted at low tide to swim into the pond because of the smell of the nutrient-rich brackish water. As the fish live in the pond, they grow fat, eating algae and plankton. When the tide rises, the adult fish are attracted to the salt water and try to leave the pond. But unfortunately, they can't get out because they're too fat to fit through the gate. So the design of all Hawaiian fish ponds, where they place their gates, how close they place the fish pond to the streams, was actually all tied into the lunar cycle, because ultimately, knowing and understanding when the moon was going to be full and when the moon was going to be new was very important to knowing when you can eat, when you can harvest the fish.
Executive Director Joylyn Paman shares an oli written to celebrate the Ko'ia'ie Loko Ia.
In order to enjoy the site, you have to really be in the right frame of mind. So that's what the oli does for someone who comes and visits us.
And when you're performing the oli, what are you thinking about? What is in your mind?
Oh my goodness. It's really a spiritual moment because just doing an oli, you're connecting to your culture. And myself, being a native Hawaiian, I take that definitely to heart. I feel the words and I know that as I speak them, I'm bringing life to the words. So every vowel, every syllable that I'm saying, I'm putting my own mana or my own spirit into it, because if I put my 100% best into it, then I know that the people who are receiving this oli can also feel the love that I have for this fish pond.
Malie o maui ke ahea he makani o hale akala. He makani o nauna I ke alali poa. O ka ono ulula I ka aina o kulala ie. He kai malino, kai olu olu, kai ma oki oki la. He kai kapua kanalo ai. Kuhula lanina au au ke kuapa. Ina po haku ho eu I ka lepo lai. Vili ia ko ia paa. Ko ie o ka uka. Eia ka loku I a kapua nā li'i kaulana vivo ole la nā li'i pio ole pi ia e ke kapu ka veloa li'i o mawinui a kama e komo mai e nā hoa nā kūkulu nā paepae e komo mai a hana ia a hewa kauaha e ano kauku ahe leo valino
Our fish pond, it is a resource for marine organisms and for the marine environment. But from a cultural standpoint, it's a great way for us to reconnect with our culture.
And if you could reach your ideal goal, what would it be?
My ideal goal would be to have the fish